The performances that shocked the world, Angelina Jordan's most powerful moments on stage. Every great artist has defining moments. Moments when something extraordinary happens on stage. Moments when the audience suddenly realizes they are witnessing something rare. For Angelina Jordan, those moments began at an age when most children were still discovering their hobbies. From the beginning of her career, Angelina Jordan created performances that left audiences stunned. Her voice carried an emotional depth that seemed far beyond her years. People who heard her sing often reacted with disbelief, asking the same question again and again. How could someone so young sing like that? To understand why her performances continue to amaze listeners around the world, we have to look back at some of the key moments that shaped her reputation as one of the most unusual young vocalists in modern music. The first moment that introduced her to global audiences happened on the stage of Norway's Got Talent. Angelina was only 8 years old when she walked onto the stage barefoot. The judges were expecting a typical child contestant, perhaps a cheerful performance or a playful song. Instead, they heard something completely different. When she began singing, the room immediately fell silent. Her voice carried a rich, smoky tone that sounded as if it belonged to a seasoned jazz singer rather than a child. Every phrase was delivered with calm control. Every note felt intentional. The judges exchanged surprised glances, and the audience listened in complete silence until the performance ended. Then the applause began. Within days, the video of that performance began spreading across the internet and millions of viewers watched it, and the reactions were almost identical everywhere. People were shocked. Many listeners said they felt chills hearing her voice for the first time. Others replayed the video repeatedly, trying to understand how such emotional singing could come from someone so young. But that performance was only the beginning. As Angelina Jordan continued appearing on stage, she delivered more performances that left audiences speechless. One reason her stage moments feel so powerful is the simplicity of her approach. She does not rely on flashy choreography or dramatic stage effects. Instead, she often stands calmly with a microphone, allowing the music to speak for itself. This simplicity draws attention directly to the voice. And when the voice carries that much emotion, it becomes impossible to ignore. Another unforgettable chapter in her career arrived when she appeared on America's Got Talent, The Champions. By this time, Angelina was no longer the small child who had first amazed audiences years earlier. She had grown into a teenager with a more mature voice and stronger stage presence. But the moment she began singing, something familiar returned. The audience once again fell silent. Viewers who had never heard of her before suddenly found themselves experiencing the same surprise that earlier fans had felt years earlier. Her voice had evolved, but the emotional power remained. This performance reminded the world that Angelina Jordan was not simply a viral moment from the past. She was a continuing musical story. Another reason her performances stand out is her ability to reinterpret classic songs. Many of the pieces she performs were originally made famous by legendary artists such as Billie Holiday and Frank Sinatra. These songs are deeply connected to the voices that first performed them. When new singers attempt to cover these classics, audiences often compare them directly to the original versions. That comparison can be intimidating. But Angelina Jordan approaches these songs in a different way. Instead of trying to imitate the original performers, she interprets the music through her own emotional perspective. She slows certain phrases, softens certain notes, and shapes the melody in ways that feel natural to her voice. This approach transforms familiar songs into something new. Listeners often feel as though they are hearing the music again for the first time. Another fascinating element of her performances is the calmness she displays on stage. Many performers rely on large gestures and dramatic movements to express emotion. Angelina often does the opposite. She stands quietly, focusing almost entirely on the vocal performance. This calm presence creates a powerful contrast with the depth of her voice. The audience sees a relaxed performer, yet hears an intense emotional story unfolding through the music. The effect can be mesmerizing. People listening to her performances often describe feeling drawn into the moment, almost forgetting everything around them. This ability to command attention without spectacle is rare, especially for young artists. Another important moment in her journey occurred when legendary music producer Quincy Jones recognized her extraordinary talent. Quincy Jones has spent decades working with some of the greatest artists in history, including Michael Jackson. His recognition of Angelina Jordan signaled that her voice had captured the attention of respected figures within the music industry. Soon afterward, she signed with Republic Records, opening the door to new professional opportunities. Yet even as her career continued developing, her performances retained the same emotional sincerity that first captivated audiences. She never appeared to chase trends or dramatic publicity. Instead, she focused on the music itself. This focus may be one of the reasons her performances feel so genuine. Audiences sense that the emotion they hear in her voice is not manufactured for effect. It comes from a sincere connection with the music. As she continues growing as an artist, fans around the world remain curious about what future performances might reveal. Because voices like hers often grow richer and more expressive with time. The performances that once shocked audiences may eventually be remembered as only the beginning of something even greater. Angelina Jordan's journey started with a barefoot girl surprising judges on a talent show stage. But today, it continues as a young artist exploring the full potential of her voice. And if the past has shown anything, it is that every time she steps onto a stage, there is always the possibility that the world will witness another unforgettable moment. As Angelina Jordan's performances began circulating online, something unusual started happening. People from completely different countries, cultures, and age groups were all reacting the same way. They were not just impressed by her technical ability. They were emotionally moved. When viewers listened to the voice of Angelina Jordan, many describe feeling something deeper than simple admiration. Some say her singing reminds them of older musical eras. Others say it feels like hearing a story that somehow belongs to them personally. This emotional reaction did not come from marketing campaigns or industry promotion. It grew naturally through the power of her performances. After winning Norway's Got Talent, Angelina's reputation spread rapidly through online platforms. Videos of her singing began reaching audiences who had never watched the original television show. In many cases, viewers discovered her performances randomly. Someone would share a clip on social media, or a music lover would stumble across one of her videos late at night. And then the same thing would happen. The listener would pause whatever they were doing. Because the voice they were hearing did not sound ordinary. Many people described it as timeless. That word began appearing again and again in comments beneath her videos. Timeless. It was an interesting description for someone so young. But when audiences heard her sing classic jazz songs or emotional ballads, they often felt transported to another era of music. This connection to older musical traditions became one of the most fascinating parts of Angelina Jordan's artistic identity. Unlike many young singers who focus on modern pop trends, she seemed naturally drawn toward music from earlier decades. Songs originally performed by artists like Billie Holiday or Ella Fitzgerald often appeared in her performances. These artists were known for their emotional storytelling and expressive phrasing. And somehow, Angelina Jordan seemed to understand those traditions instinctively. Even experienced musicians sometimes express surprise at how naturally she captured the emotional spirit of jazz and classic vocal music. Another important moment that demonstrated her growing global recognition happened when she appeared on America's Got Talent, The Champions. By this time, she had already built a strong online following, but this stage introduced her voice to millions of new viewers. When she stepped onto the stage, many audience members did not yet know who she was. But within minutes, the entire room became silent. As she began singing, judges and audience members leaned forward, listening closely. Her voice had matured since her earliest performances, gaining depth and richness. Yet the emotional sincerity that first captivated audiences was still there. This combination of growth and authenticity made the moment powerful. They were stunned. But Angelina Jordan's journey was not only about stunning performances on talent show stages. Behind every public performance, there was also a young artist continuing to develop her musical identity. She spent countless hours studying music, practicing vocal control, and exploring different styles of singing. One of the most important aspects of this development was her curiosity about musical history. Instead of focusing only on contemporary artists, she explored recordings from earlier generations of performers. She listened carefully to how legendary singers shaped their phrasing, how they used silence between notes, and how they conveyed emotion through subtle vocal changes. This curiosity helped her build a unique artistic voice. Another fascinating chapter in her story began when legendary producer Quincy Jones publicly praised her talent. Quincy Jones has spent decades shaping the careers of some of the most influential artists in modern music, including Michael Jackson. For someone with that level of experience to recognize Angelina Jordan's potential was a significant moment. It suggested that her talent was not only impressive to casual listeners but also to professionals who deeply understand the art of music. Soon after, she signed with Republic Records, one of the most influential record labels in the global music industry. This step opened new opportunities for recording, production, and international exposure. But despite these professional developments, something important remained consistent in her performances. The simplicity. Angelina Jordan never seemed interested in turning her performances into elaborate spectacles. Instead, she continued focusing on the voice itself. This artistic choice may be one of the reasons audiences continue connecting with her music. In a world where many performances rely heavily on visual effects and dramatic staging, her approach feels refreshingly honest. The listener's attention remains exactly where it belongs. On the music. As the years pass, Angelina Jordan's voice continues evolving. Vocal development is a natural process for singers, especially those who begin performing at a young age. As the voice matures, it often gains strength, resonance, and new emotional possibilities. For Angelina Jordan, this evolution may open doors to new musical directions. Some fans hope she will continue exploring jazz and classic vocal music. Others are curious to hear more original songs that reveal her own personal experiences and artistic perspective. Whatever direction she chooses, one thing seems clear. The performances that once shocked audiences were only the beginning. Because voices like hers often grow even more expressive with time. And if the past has taught us anything, it is that whenever Angelina Jordan steps onto a stage, something unexpected may happen. Another performance that leaves audiences silent. Another moment that reminds listeners why music still has the power to move people across the world. And perhaps another chapter in a story that is still unfolding. Because the journey of Angelina Jordan is not just about a young singer with an unusual voice. It is about the rare ability to turn sound into emotion. To take a song written years or even decades earlier and make it feel alive again. And that is why people continue watching, listening, and waiting. Waiting for the next moment when that voice begins to sing again. The hidden strategy behind Angelina Jordan's career, the quiet moves most fans never noticed. When most people think about the career of Angelina Jordan, the first thing that comes to mind is the unforgettable image of a young girl standing barefoot on a stage, delivering a voice that sounded far older than her age. That moment became one of the most shared talent show performances in modern internet history. It created a global audience almost overnight. But what many viewers never realized is that the story did not simply continue in a straight line after that. Instead, Angelina Jordan's career began moving in a much quieter and more strategic direction. In today's music industry, the common path for a viral star is predictable. A singer becomes famous through a single performance, then quickly releases multiple songs to capture attention while the public is still excited. Social media campaigns begin immediately. Collaborations appear rapidly. Interviews, tours, and appearances follow one after another. But Angelina Jordan's journey never followed that typical pattern. After winning Norway's Got Talent at only 8 years old, she had already achieved something that most performers spend their entire lives trying to accomplish. Millions of people around the world knew her name. Her performances were circulating online, gathering views at an incredible pace. However, instead of rushing into constant publicity, her career began developing slowly. This choice puzzled many observers. Fans wondered why someone with such a powerful voice was not releasing music every few months. Some even questioned whether the industry truly understood what to do with a talent like hers, but the truth is more complicated. Angelina Jordan represents a rare type of artist, one whose style does not naturally fit into the fast-moving rhythm of modern pop culture. Her musical foundation comes from classic jazz, soul, and blues traditions. These are genres that depend on emotional depth rather than quick trends. They reward patience rather than speed. They focus on storytelling rather than immediate viral hooks. This difference changes everything about how an artist must build their career. When Angelina was still very young, she demonstrated an unusual connection to legendary voices from the past. She often cited artists like Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald as inspirations. These singers were known for their expressive phrasing and emotional interpretation. Angelina did not simply imitate them. Instead, she absorbed the spirit of their music. Listeners noticed this immediately. Her performances did not sound like a child copying old songs. They sounded like a young artist who somehow understood the emotional language of jazz. That quality made her different from most young singers. But it also created a challenge. Because the modern music industry often struggles to categorize artists who do not fit neatly into current trends. Pop music today frequently emphasizes energetic beats, digital production, and short attention-grabbing melodies designed for streaming platforms. Meanwhile, Angelina's style is slower, more reflective, and focused heavily on vocal storytelling. For many record executives, this raises an important question. How do you introduce an artist with an old soul sound to a new generation raised on modern pop? The answer, in many cases, is patience. Angelina's career development gradually moved toward long-term artistic positioning rather than quick commercial bursts. One of the most significant moments in this strategy came when she attracted the attention of legendary producer Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones has worked with some of the greatest musicians in history, including Michael Jackson. His involvement with Angelina signaled something very important. Industry veterans recognized that her voice carried something rare. Rather than rushing her into the spotlight repeatedly, the focus shifted toward nurturing her artistic identity. This approach became even clearer when she later signed with Republic Records. Republic Records is known for managing global artists across multiple genres, but their most successful projects often involve careful development rather than constant exposure. In other words, Angelina Jordan's career was beginning to resemble the slow growth model used for long-lasting artists. Instead of chasing viral moments every year, the goal appeared to be something deeper. Longevity. Another turning point in her journey arrived when she appeared on America's Got Talent, The Champions. This stage introduced her to an enormous American television audience. Many viewers who had never seen her earlier performances suddenly discovered her voice for the first time. Her performance during that competition reminded audiences that the young prodigy from Norway had not disappeared. She had simply been evolving. The performance also demonstrated something new. Her voice had matured. The softness that defined her childhood singing was still present, but it now carried more power and control. Her stage presence had also grown stronger, showing a performer who understood how to command attention without forcing it. After this appearance, curiosity around Angelina's future increased again. But instead of releasing a flood of commercial singles, she continued to move carefully. For some fans, this felt mysterious. Why would such an extraordinary singer remain relatively quiet while the internet constantly searches for new sensations? The answer may lie in the difference between short-term popularity and long-term artistic respect. Artists who explode quickly through viral fame often struggle to maintain attention once trends shift. The audience that once celebrated them may move on to the next exciting discovery. But artists who develop their sound gradually sometimes build something much stronger. A dedicated audience that grows with them. Angelina's fanbase reflects this type of loyalty. Many listeners who discovered her as a child continue following her performances years later. They appreciate not only her voice but also the sincerity she brings to each song. That sincerity is difficult to manufacture. It is one of the reasons her interpretations of classic songs resonate so deeply with audiences. When she sings a piece originally performed by someone like Frank Sinatra, listeners do not feel as though they are hearing a simple cover version. Instead, it feels like a reinterpretation. She treats each lyric with careful attention, allowing the emotional meaning to unfold slowly. This ability is rare, even among experienced performers. And it suggests that Angelina's greatest achievements may still lie ahead. Because now she stands at a unique moment in her life. She is no longer the child prodigy who surprised the world with an unexpected voice. But she is also not yet fully defined by a single musical identity. Instead, she exists in the space between those two stages. This transition period can be difficult for many artists. The public image that first created fame must gradually transform into something new. But if handled carefully, it can also become the foundation for a powerful artistic reinvention. Angelina Jordan has already shown hints of that transformation. Her songwriting, her vocal arrangements, and her musical direction continue evolving as she grows older. Each new release provides clues about the kind of artist she may ultimately become. Some observers believe that her future may involve blending jazz influences with modern production styles, creating a sound that bridges generations. Others think she may remain closer to the classic traditions that first shaped her voice. Either path could lead to remarkable music. But the most fascinating part of Angelina Jordan's story may not be what she has already achieved. It may be the quiet preparation happening behind the scenes. Because careers built slowly often produce the most lasting impact. And if history has taught us anything about artists with extraordinary voices, it is that their most defining moments sometimes arrive long after the world first discovers them. For Angelina Jordan, the defining moment may still be waiting somewhere in the future. A moment when the young girl who once stunned audiences on a small stage fully steps into the role of a global artist. And when that moment finally arrives, many people may look back and realize that the quiet years were never a pause in her journey. They were simply the beginning of a much larger story. And also, if you enjoy this video, please subscribe and comment for more videos, and please share the video. Thanks for watching. See you in another next video. Peace out.